Okay, welcome to Week 12. Purdue football Boilermakers will be taking on the Indiana Hoosiers in Bloomington, Indiana on Saturday at noon on the Big Ten Network. So for the Old Oak and Bucket, we'll go ahead and get an opening statement from Coach here, and then we'll turn it over for questions.
30-second recap on last week's game against Northwestern. Obviously, you can't turn the ball over as many times as you do and expect to be successful. So that's one of the things that obviously we have to clean up. I think our guys are really focused on making sure we don't beat ourselves in those situations. And it was unfortunate that we shot ourselves in the foot so many times. But this is a huge week for us. And guys know that. We had a great meeting on Sunday night. And, they're fired up. We wait all year long for this game. And it's been up on our wall for 365 days, and the clock ticks down every single day. So we're excited about going down to Bloomington and playing our rivalry weekend.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open up for questions. Pete, why don't you start us off?
Okay. Hey, Darrell. You're facing an Indiana team, in particular, tailback Kevin Coleman, who's been dominant despite defensive stack his stock, and what makes him so effective?
Well, he's a big back, Pete. He's a very big back, and he's fast. And when the hole is developed for him, he hits it with great velocity. And, you know, it's kind of funny. Guys take the wrong angle on this guy. I'm not sure they know how fast he really is. And we got to make sure we eliminate those running lanes because if you don't, that's when he becomes a really good back.
Well, you're dealing with an Indiana passing team that has taken some hits with quarterback injuries. And what, if you look at it, I don't want to say maybe what concerns you, or what do they bring to the table in terms of their passing?
Well, I think the quarterback, you know, he hasn't played many games, but you can see him get better and better each week. One of the things that concerns you about the quarterback is he's not afraid to pull it down and run it. So we got to make sure we do a good job of tackling him when he does do that, because he's got a little shiftiness to him when he does pull it down.
And offensively, from your perspective, in order to start generating a few more points, what do you got to do?
Well, our execution was not very good on Saturday, Pete. You know, they're ganging the box up on us a little bit without our wide receivers. When we lost Danny Amtrup, they're starting to put a lot of guys in the box. We got to do a better job of executing the plays that are called right now. I think we all realize that, and we got to put ourselves in a little bit better situation on third down so we can make those things more manageable.
And you see the receiver, I mean, basically the receivers have to step up. Are they capable of that in one game left?
Well, I think so. I think they're growing up. They're young guys. We played 2 true freshmen on the outside last week, which is always hard. But they're not the only guys. We all have to step up. Every single position has to step up. We got to finish blocks a little bit better in the run game. Offensive line-wise, I thought we had to, you know, some of those plays we talked about for the keys to victory is you have to make more than what they're giving you. So there's a couple of plays where we had a chance to make a few more yards than what we got. So those are some of the other things that we have to get better at, Pete.
Okay, and then the last thing, Darrell, I think kind of alluded to this before, the importance of winning this game, ending the losing streak, heading to the postseason with a positive feeling. How crucial is that?
Well, this is a big game. Everybody knows that. Everybody in our program knows that. Everybody in their program knows that. It's a huge game for both programs. And, you know, you can throw out all the records, and this game will come down to the effort that you play with and the execution that you have and not turning the ball over. And that's what this game is going to come down to.
Okay, thanks, Darrell.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions here in the room.
Darrell, you know, last week you talked about, you know, your seniors and how they're, you know, bought into what you wanted to do and the pride that they take in the program. Do you worry, though, about the young guys this week, you know, having a disappointing loss in the last couple games, not being able to generate the points that you wanted to? You have to focus more on the young guys and amp them up a little bit?
No, not at all. I think the message, one of the messages on Sunday night was we all have, not only the players, but the coaches as well, you have to clear your mind from that last game, because if you don't, it will clutter your vision to what needs to happen this week. Whether it's a freshman, whether it's a senior, whether it's a coach, it doesn't matter. You have to clear your heads and you got to go forward. That's the bottom line.
This game, I've seen a lot of them, and sometimes strange things, just guys step up. You know, some guy that maybe hasn't made very many plays all year, you would look for something like that, especially maybe out of one of your wide receivers, right?
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday when we were watching the film. You know, we talked about one of the plays that Brandon Cotter made last year was a 60-yard reception. Somebody has to step in these rivalry games. That's what makes the difference in the game. It might be someone you wouldn't think about. It might be a wideout, might be a tight end. You don't know, but someone has to make some plays that may not have made it all year long.
The last thing for me, you know, I know obviously everybody saw it, ball security last week. The first half just imploded everything you probably were hoping to do. Were there any things you noticed guys weren't securing the ball well? I mean, or was it a multitude of things that caused those first half turnovers?
You know, you look at the turnovers that happened in the first and the second quarter. You know, the first one was a tip ball. The second one was he just didn't secure it well enough. The guy punched it out. The third one came pretty quickly where he caught a pass in the flat and probably needed to put that high and tight a little bit faster. Ball squirts out. And then the fourth one was the next series out when Austin probably has to secure that ball a little bit better in the pocket. Those are all things that we always talk about. That's the number one thing in winning and losing football games, and obviously getting back guys.
What about Indiana's defense? You know, it's improved obviously from last year. What have you seen in terms of the Hoosiers' ability to stop folks?
I think that what they're doing is playing hard. I mean, you turn the tape on and the guys are flying around now. Sometimes they may be out of position, but you see guys running to the ball. I think that's where the major improvement has come up from last year to this year.
In the secondary, you know, they had a couple of interceptions last week against Ohio State, made some plays, kept them in the game. Yet, like you, they've had some troubles with the pass rush. Do you see signs that area is improved for them, or is it an area that you really have to be able to keep their rush away to be able to do what you want on offense?
Well, they play this odd front, especially on first and second down. They play a nose, and we're calling them ends. They're playing over top our tackles and leaving the guards in the cover. I think they're going to probably bring an extra guy for us, if I had to guess. Probably play a little bit more man coverage. They have not played a whole lot of man coverage on first and second down. So the key will be, or the question will be, what are they going to do against us early on first and second down to create some more of that pass rush?
And Demon at quarterback is, you know, obviously inexperienced, but he is getting better. And what do you, outside of giving your game plan away, what do you have to do to cause him to be uncomfortable early and often? And can that make them one-dimensional enough to really make you be able to have your way against their offense?
Well, there are a couple of things I think we can do to make him uncomfortable, and I think without giving anything away, that's what we need to do, because that's when he struggles a little bit when things are happening. You can see some things break down.
Special teams too. I mean, this game has a way of strange things happening, and they had a punt return against them last week, but they've been pretty good in special teams most of the year. How do you evaluate their special teams play, especially in the return game?
Well, they have a good kick return and punt return in Wynn. He's a really good player, dynamic player. He's quick. He has a way of just finding those seams, so we have to make sure we do a good job. And he catches everything on the punts, so we got to make sure we don't overrun him on the punt returns. But we also got to do a good job of corralling him on those kickoff returns to make sure he doesn't get started.
What about the environment? Obviously, in Bloomington, you were down there last year. It's historic in the fact that you will play back-to-back games in Memorial Stadium in consecutive years, obviously. But what did you learn from that experience last year that you take into this year in terms of just the environment down there and what this game is all about?
Again, I believe no matter where you play, you got to block out the things that are outside the white lines, and that's the key. And if you can execute the things that are on the game plan and stay focused and not get distracted, that enhances your chances to win football games, no matter where you go.
You talk a lot about mind clutter and like, how's your team going into the game? Like, obviously it's tough coming off a loss, but what's going on in their heads? What's motivating them? Because it is, you know, a rivalry game.
Well, the biggest thing we talked about, other than clearing our minds, is what we're playing for this week, the significance of what we're playing for this week, and they understand that. And it's probably mentioned 15 to 20 times in our meeting on Sunday, what we're playing for Sunday night.
Okay, so how does Coleman stack up to like Cobb and Abdullah and Gordon?
You know, he's a very good back, and those two backs, the other backs that you mentioned, those are phenomenal backs. This guy's a really, really good football player. He's strong, he's fast, and he sees the holes pretty well.
Is it an overstatement to say that the outcome in this game can really swing how you feel about the season going into the offseason?
I don't think I look into it that deeply, to be honest with you, at least not on a Tuesday. Our minds are around preparation and making sure that everything we do gives our guys a chance to win. And what we did this weekend as a staff on Sunday is prop down the game plan so we can make sure our execution is what it needs to be. If you look at our call sheet today as opposed to the previous weeks, it's probably a third to two-thirds of what we've called.
What did you learn about the rivalry going through it for the first time last year?
You can't let it get away, and that's what happened last year. When we came out, a lot of things happened in the first quarter, and we were fighting uphill. And I think you got to make sure you keep it close and don't hurt yourself again in those early situations. And then if you do go down a little bit, you got to make sure you're battling and keep that thing close so you got a chance to win it at the end.
Well, what's your schedule for Thursday? Will you have like a team dinner?
Yeah, on Thursday we'll practice early in the morning. We'll meet at 8 o'clock. I think we go out on the field around 10 or so for about an hour, hour and 15 minutes. And then we have a team dinner at 2 o'clock over at the Sheridan. And then the players are off until Friday, 12 o'clock.
I know with just kind of the eight player manual, you have them fill out things they're thankful for and grateful for. Will you do anything on Thursday that you'll have guys speak or anything like that, or will it be just a straight up dinner?
We'll have someone say the prayer, but it'll be a straight dinner.
So what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful that I've had this opportunity. I have this opportunity to be here and to continue to work at getting this program better each and every week. And thankful for all the players that are in our locker room right now.
Staying with Thanksgiving, what's the one dish you would bring to dinner?
What's the one dish?
Yeah, Thanksgiving dish.
My mother used to make these mincemeat turnovers that I don't think I've seen since her making these turnovers, so that's one thing I would bring.
You won't ship it in? See you. I know you focused on the game, but just when you just look at this season, what group, what unit maybe has improved the most?
I think if you look at one sole group, there's probably two groups that really took off. But I think if you look at one group, I think it's the linebacker group. I really am impressed at their development and how they continually get better each week. Those three guys are going to be really good players, Jimmy and Danny E. and Jawan. I think those guys are going to be great Big Ten linebackers when it's all said and done.
Speaking of Jawan and a true freshman, you know, on the scale of all the positions that a true freshman could come in and play, where would linebacker rank as far as difficulty for a true freshman?
Well, I think playing the Mike position, that's a huge, task. I think being out on an island as a corner sometimes in man-to-man coverage is a physical hard task, but not a mental hard task. But it's probably an offensive lineman coming in, a young guy that's got to be physically developed as well as being able to handle all those different protection schemes as well as the run schemes.
Okay, which one? I mean, the plan was not to play him, right? Obviously Sean and Joe, and you've had some other guys there, but just how he adapted to that position after the injuries, and just maybe how much more vocal he is now compared to when he started there.
Yeah, sometimes you're asked to grow up quickly, and whether that's fortunate or unfortunate, he handled it extremely well. And he's really done an unbelievable job of doing all the things that Coach Freeman's asked him to do and doing it extremely well. So I'm proud of how he's responded to that.
When you started the year, I think the offensive line was a top question, and just how you feel like they've progressed and where they're at now.
Certainly have gotten better each and every week. I thought last week they protected better. I didn't think we ran block as well as we had in the past. I thought that they needed to finish blocks on the insides, particularly with the guards. But that's a group that's, if they started at a 25% rating, they're probably close to a 75% rating. So we have a ways to go still, but they made some huge advancements in that group.
Just with Indiana's offense, is it as simple as just making them one-dimensional?
Is it simple that they're one-dimensional?
No, simple for you guys, just to make them one-dimensional, dictate things.
Well, I think there's a couple guys you have to take out of the game. I think number one is one guy that you got to make sure you know where he is at all times because he can hurt you. And the number 6 is a guy that can really hurt you. Those two guys are the guys that you got to make sure you have eyes on at all times. The quarterback can hurt you from the respect that if you play so much man-to-man coverage and you don't have a spy, he's good enough to run and go get 10 or 12 or 13 yards. Will he go 60? Probably not, but he's good enough to go get himself a first down.
Will you stay with the same secondary lineup with Frankie at the corner?
Yeah, we're going to start Frankie at the corner, Anthony Brown at the corner. We'll play both Landon and Taylor at the safety, and then Leroy Clark will come in and play the corner when Frankie goes into the nickel.
What do you think about the job that Rajman Howard has done for you this year?
I think he's done well. He's been hampered all year with his back. He's on the medical report since day one. He's got some back issues, so he hasn't practiced as much as you'd like him to practice. But I thought he's done a pretty good job of holding the point. Sometimes he jumps out of his gap because he likes to make plays, which sometimes puts the defense in a little bit of quandary. But I think he's done a good job. I think he continues to get better. His weight's down. I think he weighed in at 312 last week, which is good. He was 320 at the beginning of the season, so I think that helps him inside.
You mentioned he's been out a lot during the week for practices, but on Saturdays he's playing a lot. Are you pretty happy with where his at least game day conditioning is because he's been only getting a lot of snaps?
You like for it to be better, but it's not awful. I've seen some guys play out there that can't go 2 or 3 plays in a row, but he can go probably with. What gets him is when they get a first down, and he's got to go a second series or a third series or that second first down within the series. That's when you got to get him out and get Ryan Watson in there and get him a blow.
Was the Sunday meeting out of the ordinary, or was that a typical Sunday meeting you had?
It's different. It was different for a lot of different reasons, and it was going to be different, but it really had to be different from the respect of we weren't going to do anything with Northwestern anyway, but then I had to address it because what just happened. And then we talked about the only thing that matters now. That's all we talked about. Trying to get them to clear their minds because it's a painful situation, but you got to get them to clear their minds and understand what really is important right now, and that's all that matters.
Did you get the sense from them after the game on Saturday and then early on Sunday that you needed to do something to sort of wipe the slate clean?
Well, I think I got to look at myself in the mirror and see how I'm feeling, and I'm sure the rest of the guys who care, which they do, which they all do, the coaches and players and trainers and all those people that really invest so much into winning a game, and then you go out and you do that. You look at yourself and say, okay, if I'm feeling like this, you got to know the team's feeling like this, so you got to make some adjustments in the message that you're giving to these guys. And it's got to be strong, it's got to be sincere to make sure the point gets across.
Did just you speak, or did any other guys talk? Or?
I asked, one question, I can't even remember what the question is, and Ryan Russell spoke up. It was a question that was not rhetorical, and he spoke up and you know, had the right answer.
Tell us what it is.
Something about what's important right now.
Just how, the running game, how do you go about getting it back going again, you know, after a couple weeks here where it sort of stalled out?
Yeah, it has stalled a little bit, but like I said before, you know, the first fumble that Akeem had, it was a good running play. We hit it for about 9-10 yards, and then he put it on the ground. I think those are the things that we have to be able to call more and more plays to be able to get him the ball. And he touched it maybe 20 times or so. I think which is pretty good numbers for him for that type of game. But we have to be able to block longer up front.
Thanks.
Do we have any follow-ups? All right, Coach, thank you for your help all season long.